I love the stories. I love hearing about the challenges, the tribulations of how a business got started. And moreover, what I love is seeing the next generation of business owners taking over from mom and dad and taking the business to a next level.
I've been waiting for this opportunity for a while. Michael knows that. We now have the distinct honor of having on Michael MacIntyre, Head of Business Banking for Investors Bank. Michael, thank you for joining me here on Mind Your Business.
Yitzchok, it's great to be on. This is a long time coming, and I'm really happy to be here.
Long time coming. Why did it take so... it took getting the show into Borough Park to get you on. I guess that's what it is.
The parking in Manhattan is a pain, and as you know, the subways aren't as reliable as they used to be. So anytime I can come to Brooklyn and be home again is great. Thank you.
How are you kids?
Thank God everybody's well. I've got a 9-month-old and just under a 3-year-old, and just wrote my first check for nursery school.
That's great. That's great. Let's jump in. We're here at this very special event brought to you by Investors Bank and Saul Freeman & Company, and that is a get-together with business leaders and talking about the bank's perspective. Let me ask you, what are some of the technologies that your bank, of course Investors, is investing in to enhance the business banking capabilities?
It's a great question. The technology is changing every day, right? And so the question is, how often do you make changes, right? And so right now we are at a point in our journey is transitioning to a $40 billion bank where we are in the process now of revisiting how we underwrite, approve, and book small business loans. My goals are to be able to, within the next 6 months, underwrite, approve, and book a small business loan in under an hour. And use digital channels.
It's not impossible?
It's not impossible. I mean, my goal, candidly, is to do it eventually in under 20 minutes. But our first stab at it is going to be to start to be able to lend in under an hour. I mean, if you look at some of the other banks that are out there, they're heading in that same direction. And we want to be, in lockstep, if not ahead of the game,
right,
in that space. And on the technology side, on day-to-day banking, I mean, think about what you could do today on your phone that you couldn't even do 2 or 3 years ago. And so we're constantly looking at new ways to generate a better customer experience, an opportunity for our customers to interact with us in the ways they prefer to do that at their own leisure, on their own schedule.
So, Michael, your bank continues to expand its business banking team. What are some of the valued skills and expertise that you look for when recruiting someone to join the Investors team?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'm here now 6 months, and I have been charged by the bank to go out and hire several dozen bankers across the New Jersey and New York markets. And the first skill they look for is credibility. When I hire a banker, the first thing I ask them is, tell me about your brand. What is the personal brand that you bring to the community that you serve? At the end of the day, we're all in the deposit and loan business. My money is just as green as anybody else's, and so, I ask bankers questions about, tell me about your customer experience, your customer engagement. What is your brand? What's your volunteer activities like? And some bankers that are really good get it and understand that. Those that are just transactional don't really have the right answers, and so we move on from those people.
WeWork and WeWork Spaces, that type of model has really taken over in a very strong way. What are some of the ways that Investors is connecting with people in those type of spaces?
So the whole office sharing concept is really becoming a contemporary event for small businesses. If you're a startup or a small business and you don't have the certainty as to how much real estate you may or may not need, then the office sharing concept is a great way for you to get some certainty in that regard. I like that office sharing allows for me to put my bankers there where businesses are forming. And so for those office locations in New York City, I have moved the majority of my bankers to spend several days a week in the office sharing companies like a WeWork, networking, marketing the brand, making customers and prospects aware of what we can do, and candidly putting my bankers where our customers are. If you go into many branches today, they're not as busy as they used to be 10, 15, 20 years ago. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to staff my bankers in locations, in venues like tonight, where our customers and prospects are.
It's so fascinating because it's like watching the seeds go in the ground. You don't see the full tree yet, but especially in these office co-working spaces where you see dozens of people just coming, and some of them with like ideas that may sound off the wall that, guess what, 2 years from now, they may be multi-million-dollar operations.
That's right, and we want to get them when they're young and starting, right? And so, yeah, obviously, you talk about trees. The first couple of years, the roots are growing underground. Nobody sees them. And so we're trying to get opportunities to talk to customers, talk to prospects, talk to professionals that are using a WeWork concept office environment as their main place of doing business.
Now, Michael, you have developed exceptional expertise by leading banking teams that assist startup companies, as we're talking about now, and of course, mid-sized businesses and multinational corporations. Based on your experience, of course, your vast experience, what are 2 of the 3 qualities that business owners or corporate executives want to see from their business banking relationship?
I think the first one is credibility. Like I said to you before, you've got to bring credibility, not just of knowledge of the trade or the craft that you're selling, but of whom you are as an individual. That's the first thing for me. The second thing is, what is your brand? How have you taken your brand over your working career and evolved with the times, right? The brand that was acceptable 10 or 15 years ago is no longer that same acceptable skill set today. And so I attribute brand and skill as the same thing. And then the third thing is being dependable and keeping to your word. If you say that you're going to call somebody back, a text is not a phone call back. An email is not a phone call back. When I talk to a customer and I say, I'll call you back, that means I'll pick up the phone and I will actually call them back. And sometimes I think that people have used digital technologies to substitute for what you and I are doing right now, which is having a conversation. And those are fewer and fewer and far between in business these days.
Wow, Michael, it was great finally getting you on the show. I mean, like, as we wrap up the show, what final takeaway could you share with the listeners of Mind Your Business?
Well, small businesses, as your business owners know, are the backbone, of the United States economy. I love small business. I'm back in the small business space, back in Brooklyn, back in Borough Park, where I grew up, literally 8 blocks from where we're recording right now. I love the stories. I love hearing about the challenges, the tribulations of how a business got started. And moreover, what I love is seeing the next generation of business owners taking over from mom and dad and taking the business to a next level. And so, you look at Saul Friedman tonight. Saul I've known for more than 20 years. And as I said to you, earlier tonight, it's because of him that I catered my Christmas party kosher for nearly 20 years. But, he's clearly passing the torch to Simeon. And, Simeon's another great guy who's going to take their business and their accounting and consulting firm to the next level. And that's why I love being a part of these communities again.
Michael, thank you so much for joining me here on Mind Your Business.
Great to see you. Thanks very much.
I love the honor of interviewing C-level executives and sharing their great advice and perspective on Mind Your Business. I'd love to get your feedback. Post it in the comments below and subscribe. You'll never miss an edition of Mind Your Business.